Roy tonight. So without any further ado, Debbie, thank you so much.
Thank you very much. So first of all, I just want to thank Jovette for inviting me. I have had the opportunity to work with the Lake County design team, and as I do the work that I've been doing in STEM for the past 10 years at Cleveland State, I have seen a lot of unique and really good stories, and I think Lake County is one of those. There's no other place that I know of in the state of Ohio that is trying to talk about STEM as a county. I think that's a pretty big deal. So I'm happy to be involved in it. I'm happy to be here today. We're going to talk about definitions first of STEM, and then I'm going to give two examples. One is the MC² STEM High School, one is a school in Parma, an elementary school that I've been working with, and then the supports that are available to you throughout Northeast Ohio. I'll give some examples of those types of things. I did put together a couple of slides I'm not going to spend a lot of time on about the practices of science, technology, engineering, and math. So next generation science standards, which Ohio is not adopting now until the last rumor, this is a rumor, I'm going to spread gossip, but the last rumor I heard was 2016, and that was iffy, but those are out there. Next generation science standards incorporate both science and engineering practices, so I just want to show those to you. The Math Common Core has mathematical practices, and then the International Society for Technology in Education, ISTE, has standards for technology. And I just put, they have 4 major standards, and I just put all 4. So if we just take a look at these real quick, right? These are the science engineering practices from next generation science standards, right? So the practices are pretty similar. The only difference is in the way they're defined for next generation science standards is in scientists ask questions and engineers define problems. Scientists construct explanations, so why does this happen? And engineers design solutions. But the other practices that are there, use models, carry out investigations, analyze data, use math, engage in argument using evidence, and obtain, evaluate, and communicate information are the same for those. Then if we look at the math practices from the Common Core, make sense of problems and persevere in solving them, reason abstractly and quantitatively, construct arguments is there again, model with math, use appropriate tools, attend to precision, make use of structure, and look for and express regularity and repeated reasoning. I'm not sure what that means, but I didn't teach math. I taught high school science before I went back to school to get my doctorate. So, but you can see a lot of those align with and are the same as science and engineering, right? And then if we look at the 4 major technology standards, some things that are essential for those practices come out, right? Creativity and innovation, communicating and collaborating. We can't solve problems unless we communicate and work together. You can solve the problem, but you'll probably get the best answer, right? 2 heads are better than 1. Research and informed fluency, critical thinking, problem solving, and decision making. So the place that I see a definition of STEM is in the practices. The practices of science, technology, engineering, and math are where those 4 letters come together and we have a common ground, right? And then we can separate out based on some differences. The Ohio STEM Learning Network definition is similar. I'm not going to read all of that to you, but creativity and innovation, challenge, student-centered, inquiry-based, cross-disciplinary, real-world, collaboration again. Okay, so just some more reinforcement that STEM is about practicing these disciplines. I'm going to skip that one. All right, I'm going to show a couple minutes of a video. Pleasant Valley Elementary STEM School in Parma is a K-4 STEM school that just started this past August. We worked with them through SCIESC for a year and a half. The Parma story is interesting and fantastic, just like the Lake Erie County story. But there's a teacher who was teaching at Parma, 3rd grade, and she has a daughter. She still has the daughter. The daughter she went to the National Inventors Hall of Fame Middle School. That's a STEM middle school in Akron, Ohio. And her daughter was coming home. They work around problem-based learning there, which is a little bit different than project-based, but it's a little bit of semantics as well. But her daughter was coming home very excited about school, right? Working on solving problems. She didn't have to make her do her homework. She wanted to read more. She wanted to get online, and she wanted to use these things. So Brenda asked herself, if she's learning this way, why aren't I teaching that way? So she went to a couple of other teachers and said, hey, this is what they do at the middle school in Akron. Why aren't we doing that at all in Parma? And there were 6 teachers and a curriculum director who got together and wrote a proposal to start a STEM school. They presented it to the superintendent with a plan, and they opened last year. So it was a 2-year process between them starting and writing the plan and receiving professional development from us around project-based instruction and fabrication lab stuff. That whole process took 2 years, and then they opened the school in August. The school is full. It was full in August, and next year they will have 5 kindergartens.
Wow.
They had 3 this year, and next year they're expanding to 5. So it's growing and I think doing good things. But I want you to listen for a couple minutes to some of the teachers, and I put this where I want it. It's a 16-minute video. I don't want you to watch the whole thing.
And why is that? It's because science and math and technology and engineering should not be worksheets on a desk. They should not be teacher lectures. They should be based upon projects that the students are doing. And the whole idea of our STEM elementary school is that it's going to be project-based.
Project-based learning units in classrooms, tied together with STEM education, provide different opportunities for students to learn all disciplines in school, including English language arts, social studies, and more. In 2013, students and faculty at John Muir Elementary School had the opportunity to discover what project-based learning was all about and how it was different than your typical classroom experience. Students were tasked with creating model homes with all power coming from at least 2 renewable energy sources.
So what we do is the kids are all working on one goal for the entire quarter. And our essential question this quarter is, how are we energized? So they tie everything that they're doing in class. They're tying their math, their language, their reading, their science, their social studies. Everything that we learn is tied together, and then they apply that knowledge at the end of the quarter in a big project.
In our unit, we took the whole multiplication discipline that we had to cover for 3rd grade, and part of that is learning their facts and doing that fluently, and then along with that they have to be able to solve area, perimeter, and how that ties to multiplication. So we took that into knowing the area, perimeter of their house. They had to purchase their tiles, their carpeting, anything to supply their house with knowing the area. They could not buy or purchase their supplies from their budget, which was their economics, without being able to tell us the area. So that all went together. And then with the language arts, they have to write the persuasive essay, they have to write the informational reports, which were all the things that they were learning in the language arts section throughout our 9 weeks. All of that goes together with our posters that they are making for renewable energy, and they have graphic sources, which is also something that they are learning, which goes both with social studies and language arts, and everything is just tying together.
And it's different from a thematic unit, because a thematic unit is when you have a topic or a theme, and then you use that theme to teach things. But the way that it's different is that we're not looking towards fitting everything necessarily into our theme. We're looking at, okay, these are our standards, this is our content, this is what they need to learn. And then our project at the end is applying it all so that they're actually using the knowledge that they've learned. And research has shown that when kids are actually using and applying their knowledge, they're going to retain it a lot more than if they're just doing short little things to show if they've learned it or not.
The project-based learning unit was brought to life at John Muir Elementary thanks to a visit by the Fab Lab, or Fabrication Lab, a mobile learning environment provided by the MC² STEM High School, part of the Cleveland Metropolitan School District. The equipment and technology that the Fab Lab brought to John Muir made students' projects and plans a reality.
Fabrication Lab from MC Squared is a bunch of machinery that's hooked up to a computer and that the kids can use. There's laser cutters, there's vinyl cutters, there's wood etchers and things like that. The two main machineries pieces that we're using is the laser cutter and the vinyl cutter. And what the kids are doing is they're able to design their model homes, follow the design process, decide what they want to have on their home.
So the kids actually got to see the equipment in use. They got to sit down and plan and collaborate. They incorporated in these units aspects of English language arts, social studies, mathematics, the science. Obviously, in designing things, there you have the engineering component. And if you have come to see the kids this week work on the Fab Lab equipment, the level of energy from those kids in this building has been bumped up an entire notch compared to
what it usually is. the rest of his statement. All right, so that's what was going on. That's what is going on in Parma. Excuse me. The gentleman who spoke first was the curriculum director at the time. He has since retired, and the two teachers were part of that initial team. They showed a sign at the beginning of John Muir Elementary School. So the teachers did these projects the year before the STEM school actually opened. So we were training them at the Great Lakes Science Center through SIZE, and their goal for that first year was to get trained and try one project. And then over the summer, we met with them again, and we helped them develop 3 more projects, so they had one for each quarter, and then they opened the school this fall. So, and the mobile Fab Lab is part of what they do at MC Squared STEM High School. So I'm going to show you another clip of what goes on at MC Squared, and I won't show you this whole one either. I'm going to fast forward through the beginning of it. It talks about the Cleveland Public Schools and how...
In Cleveland's Metropolitan School District, grants through volunteering and internships.
And when we graduate, we're prepared to succeed in college, in our careers, and in life.
It's called MC Squared STEM High School. Take a look at what they do for their students. It might change what you do for yours.
Such an ominous picture. This was developed by EdUtopia. MC Squared STEM has a Schools That Works designation, so this was done by EdUtopia.
They've laid out a very good program. The hands-on projects, the industrial collaboration, the university collaboration is a wonderful environment in which the kids can excel. Each kid has to have their fuse lit for that rocket to take off. So you can get them out on the launching pad, but if you don't light the fuse, they're not going to go. Tim and I started out mentoring about a year and a half, almost 2 years ago. He was a sophomore. He has become a tremendously different person. He's now a very confident young man. This is really remarkable. He brought kids in from the neighborhood, basically. They're not handpicked from premium high schools in the area, and gave them a rich experience in working with role models.
What's rewarding about working with professionals here on GE campus is getting to know how their life is. It makes me think, at least, that, hey, if I go into this career, that's going to be me. That's going to be me working really hard. That's going to be me using all these math that my math teacher's teaching me. That's going to be me using all the science that my science teacher's teaching me.
This real-world experience that they get really grounds them. So school is no longer for them a theoretical hypothesis for what life is.
We're going to be working with multimeters. Okay, so your training is actually starting on equipment today.
This is very very reality based.
Okay, what does that K mean, by the way? 1,000.
They're teaching us from experience. And when the professionals come in, it's like, wow, I need to pay attention.
Doesn't have to pay attention to his teacher. She's not a professional. Right. They're no longer at the Health Career Center.
Mastery-based grading is different from the ABC scale. We get graded on M, which is mastery, reaching mastery, and incomplete.
Assessment and mastery in math is done two ways. One through the testing of the mastery of the paper pencil skills, but then any project we do has a rubric, so the students know exactly what they need to do to reach mastery. Kids have to show that they've learned the content and that feel really comfortable about that.
Every summer in our 3-week break, I've gotten the chance to do an internship. When I came to STEM, I wanted to be an astronomer, so I got my NASA internship. And I built hydrogen sensors for the International Space Station, but I found out I don't want to be an astronomer. My second was in the Injury Prevention Center at University Hospitals. I found out I don't want to do anything that has to do with hospitals. My third one, which is the one I'm currently in, is at American Civil Liberties Union. I think I'm gonna end up doing something with political science that has to do with protection of our rights, because I'm very passionate about that.
Engineer.
I'm gonna stop there because I'm paying attention to what time it is. So MC squared, they mentioned some of these things, and we've talked about all of them, but the 9th graders go to Great Lakes Science Center for school, and if you're interested in a visit, let me know. I can set that up. I've worked with Jeff, who's the head of school for the school since the school opened 6 years ago. Excuse me. So the 9th graders go to Great Lakes Science Center. It's fantastic. They're right on the wall. They look out the windows. Their hallway is the windows that look out to Lake Erie and the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. The first time I went there, I thought, I want to go to school here. I go back to 9th grade to come to school here. Then the 10th graders go to GE Neela Park Lighting Institute, and they work there closely with the engineers at GE and other folks at GE. And then 11th and 12th graders, starting this year, started coming to Cleveland State. So we have them now on our campus. They're organized around project-based learning. They do a capstone each quarter. They're a year-round school. That's not up there. They are a year-round school. Excuse me. So they have 4 weeks of break between every quarter. And in those weeks, one of those weeks is the teachers spend planning the capstone for the following quarter. So they have time, right? There are a lot of unique things about MC squared. MC squared has seen fantastic results. I don't know what the percentages are, but the percentages are significantly higher there than in Cleveland Public Schools that pass the OGT and those types of things. Excuse me. But part of the reason for that is because they have time and resources, right? I don't know other schools, and I work with a lot of schools, not all schools, but I don't know other schools that provide their teachers 4 weeks of planning time together. I mean, that's a very unique thing. Excuse me. I don't know other schools that are on at GE. Right. I mean, that's a ton. That's so much time. When they do their projects, Jovette mentioned project-based and Common Core and those types of things. The planning process that they use for their projects is the planning process that we teach through SIZE. And the first step is for the teachers of the different disciplines or grade level teachers to each choose a discipline, and you start with the standards. If your district has standards, if you're following Common Core, but then for science, for language arts, for history, all of those teachers, and there's a Chinese, they take Chinese, and they have engineering at all of the sites. So those, is that 5 or 6? Teachers sit around a table, they look at their standards, and themes come out from that, and that's how they design their projects. So they are transdisciplinary, and then the rubric that they build for assessing the project incorporates all of those standards, right? So it's look at the standards, see what projects come out, where we overlap, create a rubric, and then go back and plan what happens in between. They have the Fab Lab, which I haven't talked that much about, but there is a Fab Lab at each location, and they have the mobile Fab Lab that can go out to different schools. I think it came to Lake County, didn't it, Jovette?
Yeah, we had it in Lake County.
They also assess through mastery. They don't give A through F. They give, right, you either made it or you didn't make it. And so by 11th grade, I've been working with the 11th grade math teacher. She's working with them sometimes on things from 9th grade, right? If they didn't get if they didn't master all of the skills from 9th grade and 9th grade math, she's working with them in that 11th grade math classroom. So it's a very different type of education.
How do they do college applications with that type of scoring?
Somebody else asked me that recently, and I told them I would find the answer, and I haven't talked to Jeff
I
yet.
that's the ACT or SAT scores.
Right. They have those, but I don't know if they all just get a 4-point.
Yeah.
If they get mastery on all the things, I don't know how they do that, but I can find out.
I'm not at the high school. I just want my
Right.
as a guidance counselor. I know that he spends all that.
Right.
That's
Yep.
what he does.
Yep. And then they also provide internships. So during the year, their year on school, during the year, in their various quarters, starting in 10th grade and a lot more in 11th and 12th grade, the students can go out and do internships, and they have a flexible credit. Jeff can award flexible credit. So they could get credit if the internship provides them the opportunity to gain mastery on some of their standards from the high school. So they're out during the school day. The 11th and 12th graders are every place. They are in internships. Some of them are at Tri-C and PSOP courses. Some of them are at Cleveland State and PSOP classes. I don't know how they keep track of where those kids are because they're all over. But I think it's valuable stuff. So, Jovette, I have 2 minutes.
Yeah, a couple minutes. That's all.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go through these pretty fast. I have slides on each of these, and I do have someone. I emailed Marie, and I said, "How many people usually come?" And she said, 4 to 10. So I thought, well, then I'll make 15 copies. But there are 30 of you, I think, about. So I have 15 copies of this, which include the slides with specific things on them. I'm also going to email them the presentation to Marie, and she can email it out to all of you.
Yeah, make sure your email address is where you want it to help get things.
And what I'll do is I will take the links out of so I inserted them so I could just click on the thing. I'll take them out and make them part of the presentation. So that if you want to watch those videos, you can. There are some other links that I made part of the words instead of on the slide. So I'll pull all that out. I'll send it to Marie, and then so if you can't leave without one, there are 15. But if you can leave without one, we'll email it to you. Real quick, Center for Innovation in STEM Education. Like I said, what we've done is we've taken what MC Squared STEM High School does well and tried to teach other people how to do it. This is in the back, and I made 20 of these. Excuse me, but I can send this also. These are the workshops we have coming up this summer. We're planning tomorrow for next academic year. We have worked, so we provide this professional development at the Great Lakes Science Center. We have also worked individually with districts. So we're part of a straight A grant with Cuyahoga County. We're part of a couple other straight A grants. Parma, we helped them write a Martha Holden Jennings grant. That's how they paid for the professional development with us. Ashtabula submitted a Dominion East Ohio grant, and we helped them with that. So while we do things that anyone can come do, we also do specialized what makes sense for people and what individual buildings and districts need. So that's available. My contact information is on there. Jovette and Marie both have my contact information. If you go to Cleveland State's website, you can get my information. If you go to USN, you can get my information. So I'm around. Great Lakes Science Center is a partner in the training center. They house the training center. They house the 9th graders. And then at Cleveland State, probably the thing you might be the most interested in, or people in your buildings or districts might be the most interested in, is we have a National Science Foundation grant that we just got. We're providing professional development to teachers to teach them how to teach a new course called Computer Science Principles. In 2016, spring of 2016, it will be the new AP Computer Science course. Right now it's not that, but it will be. So what we do, teachers can participate in two different ways. You can be a fellow. What that gives you is $3,000 in your pocket and $1,000 worth of supplies for your classroom, 2 weeks of professional development in the summer, and academic support during the year with computer scientists that come in and help if you need help. If you know of anybody who might be interested in that, let me know. The caveat
At the high school level.
Yeah, high school. The caveat to that is you have to agree and be able to teach computer science principles in your school the following year. So it's probably not something that schools can do now because schedules were set in January. But if it's something that you'd be interested in doing next year or the year after, it's a 3-year grant. So we'll be doing it at least for the next 3 years. There's also an apprentice teacher level where you have access, you don't get any money, but you have access to all of the online materials that we're developing. So the professional development that the fellows come to, the first week is in June and the second week is in August. In between that time, they're participating in an online course. Apprentice teachers have access to all of that material as well as everything that happens in the academic year. And then they can be fellows or they can go on their way and teach it if they think that they're ready.
Is that just public school teachers?
Anybody. Yep. Yep. So I thank you for your time. I'm sorry that I went over. I could have gone for another 45 minutes, but I won't. Yes.